Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Today is another real chat video, and this is going to be talking about my military service. This is part 4. So last video we kind of talked a little bit more about basic training as we head into AIT. Not a lot of happening during AIT days, so we are transitioning to my first duty station. So, I was actually assigned to Fort Hood, Texas, and kind of nervous because I think I left. I'm trying to remember when I was supposed to be in Texas. I keep feeling like I'm misrepresenting the dates, but I don't know. But I'm gonna say December 27th. You know, by like midnight. So technically December 28th, but no, December 27th was the cutoff. And so that means I had to leave. I took a train. A buddy and I, when we left AIT in Virginia, we actually stayed a couple days after graduation. And a couple days later, we took a taxi and went to the Richmond, Virginia train station. And he and I took the train back to our respective cities. So I think he was from like Denver or something. So there was a layover in Chicago. So I was able to buy a ticket and do my layover and get off in Chicago. And, he was able to continue on to Colorado. So, man, say my wife and my mom had picked me up and my little niece was there. That was pretty awesome. The bad thing about it is I was home on leave for about 2 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks, I don't remember exactly. And this is what sucks. Military, they do not tell you anything. Everything from the train ticket from AIT home, the train ticket from my house to Fort Hood, the bus ride I had to pay for from the train station to Fort Hood. That stuff, the bills or the food expenditures. If they had told me we could have kept those receipts and been reimbursed for them, that would have been hundreds of dollars coming back to me. Nobody told us anything. So like the only when we actually got to Fort Hood and we're like in processing Fort Hood and everything, and we're going through like the reimbursements and expenditures. I think the only receipt I had was probably the bus ride from like the train station to Fort Hood. Maybe I had the train from Chicago to I think it was Temple, Texas, and we had a bus ride from Temple to and it wasn't really a bus, it was like a van or whatnot, but because they don't have direct train stations or Amtrak's whatever in Killeen, I think that's what happened. I think it was Temple where we had to get off, and one where I was at the train station, I had to buy a bus ticket from there to Fort Hood. But man, the military, like I said, they don't teach you anything. You basically gotta learn things for yourself, and hopefully you're decent enough to kind of pass that knowledge on to other people. So, and I guess that's another reason why making these videos right now, or even though I'm getting aggravated with some of the stuff that I'm rehashing, it's still to a point where I'm glad I'm able to kind of relay some of this information, because I know someday, someone who is a teenager thinking about military service is going to come across these videos, and I'm sure they're going to help them out a lot one way or the other. And so I think I had to leave Christmas Day 2004 and I took the train because it was cheaper. Again, not knowing about reimbursement or anything, I took the most affordable option for me, and I was probably on that train for damn near 2 days. I was supposed to check in by like a certain time on the 27th of December, and I got there I think 11 o'clock at night or something. And I don't know if it was like the next day or something, but a bunch of people I went to AIT with were there, and they're looking like, "Hey man, we thought you went AWOL," because I guess they all got there at their respective time, and I wasn't there for early check-in or whatever. But I still made it before midnight, so I was good to go. And me, a ton of folks from AIT, we got assigned to Alpha Company. And our unit name had changed so many times over the course of the next 5 years. Like, when you look at our orders, it says Davardi. Or it was like Alpha Company 589th Davardi. And which stood for Division Artillery. Then later on, it became 589th BSB Fires Brigade. And then 589th BSB Brigade Support Battalion. 589th Brigade Support Battalion, 41st Fires Brigade. And it fell under the 4th Infantry Division. And shoot, man. I mean, like I said, that damn thing changed it forever. I think right after I got out of the Army in 2010, in the following years, it went from 4th ID to 1st Cavalry Division to 3 Corps. So the way that it's set up, like 3 Corps is technically headquarters of Fort Hood. But then you got the 2 major divisions. You got 4th Infantry Division on one side, and you got 1st Cav on the other side. And everything falls underneath the umbrella of 3 Corps. But they did away with the whole 4ID or 1st Cav, and they were just 589th BSB, 41st Fires Brigade, 3 Corps. I'm like, what's up with all this crap? It's not, like, they must have, I don't know, because I think when I got out, at some point they were talking about going to Korea, deploying the unit to Korea. And to me, that's screwed up. I hate that. On one side, I would absolutely would have loved to have gone to Korea, but on another side, it's not a combat zone, so you don't get any combat pay, and you can't bring your family, so you can't even relocate your family to be with you. Do you get family separation pay while in places like Germany or Korea? Maybe. I don't really know. Like I said, I've never been to Germany. I've never been to Korea, so I can't say. But if you don't get combat pay, you don't get family separation pay, what the hell is the point of going to Korea? If you're a single person aged like 20 and you want to go up there and meet girls, or if you want to go there to, like, buy bootleg jerseys and stuff like that, yeah, that'd be perfect for you. But like for someone who's married or someone who has a family, if they have kids, whatever, that, to me, that's a waste of a deployment. You're separating you're the soldier from his family, and you're not appropriately compensating them. So at that case, I would say, shit, just send me back to Iraq. I mean, I'll go back to Iraq all day. Combat pay, family separation pay, tax exemption. I mean, hell, tax exemption alone puts an extra couple $100 back in your pocket, a few $100 back in your pocket. Combat pay was like another $500 or $700. I think it was like $800, and family separation was like $500. But I mean, there was all these different compensations for combat deployments. Fort Hood. Let me go back to Fort Hood. Fort Hood. Where did I leave off? This is why I don't like jumping ahead, because I kind of confuse myself. Yeah, so we all ended up in 589th Davardi. And then, of course, all the subsequent names. Our unit probably consisted of less than 10 people. So when I say this was a brand spanking new freaking unit, it was brand spanking new. Now, when you actually look at the history of the 41st Fires Brigade, that crap goes back to like the 1940s or 1950s or something. But, they deactivate units all the time. And they reactivated this unit, and this unit was brand spanking new, didn't have anybody there. So we were like the first set of like 10 people, 15 people part of that unit. And of course, as the months grew, the more and more people that we got into the unit. And suddenly we were a fully fledged, brigade. We had a HHC, we had a Alpha Company, Bravo Company. Charlie Company moved on to like another company, became their own unit. I forget what they were called, but not important. But yeah, I mean, Alpha Company, we had like 200 plus people. And, Bravo Company probably had another 200, 300 people. Shoot, so HHC was headquarters, so I mean, not too many people there, but several dozen maybe. The early days of Fort Hood. Now, it was very easy to be a soldier in the early days of 589th BSB because we really didn't have anything to do as a brand new unit. We had nothing to do, nowhere to go. The Army really teaches you how to be a janitor. So many freaking people are going to laugh at that because they know it's true. Why did you join the Army? Well, apparently I joined the Army to be a janitor, my dude. Going around, you police call around the buildings, sweeping, mopping the floor. Shoot. It was fun when they start putting you on staff duty and having to basically pull staff duty like once every week or once every other week because freaking there's not too many people to choose from. Eventually, we started getting NCOs into the unit, and they basically take us to the library or something, out of sight, out of mind type of deal. But the first 6 months, between January and early June, I'd say, or maybe it was May, I don't remember, but that's basically all we did. It was like I said, it was easy to be a soldier. You show up for PT in the morning, and 9 o'clock. Work call, until 11:30 when you break for lunch. Be back at 1, bam. 5 o'clock, Fridays, we still had our, battalion, what would I call it? But where the battalion CO stands out and gives his weekend speech. Don't drink and drive. Don't beat your wives. All this other jack. Oh, that's another thing that pisses me off about the military. My wife is very hard to control. And I can't really tell my wife what to do one way or the other. I can yell, threaten, and all I want. That woman is going to stand pat. Even if she's wrong, she's going to fight me on everything that she's got to prove that she's right, even if she knows she's wrong. And so... The military has this habit of being very family friendly and very family oriented. They create these policies and these programs to support spouses and whatnot. But you have no freaking idea how many times my own sergeants, my own squad leader, NCOs in my platoon, how often they told me that I need to beat the shit out of my wife. You need to grab your balls and go slap the shit out of her. Or stuff like that, and it's pissed me off. I'm like, these people are so freaking two-faced, it's unbelievable. The Army is nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. And anyone that serves will learn that very quickly. So, everything from trying to be family-friendly and telling me to hurt my wife at the same time, bunch of scumbags. Never appreciated that. Well, not for one damn second. Another thing that you will learn about the Army, if you can run fast, you are God. I don't care if you walk into a home with 25 family members, great-grandparents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and I don't care if you walk into that house and murder 25 people. What? You just raped and brutalized this girl over here? Hey, that's okay. We've seen your PT scores, and we're going to give you 45 days extra duty and knock you down a rank. Am I exaggerating? With the brutality, maybe just a little bit. Well, at least with the military is not going to hide murder or cover up murder. But you kind of get the gist of where I'm coming from. If you can run fast and, max out your PT test and score 300 every time, you can do no wrong. Military freaking loves you. I mean, you learn that crap back in basic training. By AIT, it's freaking installed into your brain. I have this one clown. This girl, or this guy, this asshole actually raped one of the girls in our unit. She reported it, and what happened to him? He got moved to a different company. Not even out of the unit. He's still in the company, just still in the same unit, just a different company. And so he was on like Bravo company with her, and then they moved him to like Charlie company, whatever. What the hell was that company? FSC. I forget what FSC was. Ford Supply Company, maybe. Anyways, I see this asshole in the damn stuffy nose. I see this asshole in the damn motor pool. Probably after our first deployment, so a couple years later, motherfucker's wearing goddamn sergeant rank. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Now, the fact that this asshole wasn't serving time somewhere in like Leavenworth or whatnot is absolutely ludicrous. But them to put freaking stripes on that motherfucker made no damn sense. And you want to know how freaking shitty people are in the military? Try this on for size. That same girl, later on, she miscarried. And she miscarried twins. Her squad leader, her own NCO tells her, that's okay, drink water. I shit you not, that bitch told her to drink water. And to be honest, that is a go-to saying in the military. When someone basically tells you they don't give a shit, instead of telling you to go F yourself or something, that's okay, drink water. Yeah, it's funny when times when you actually need to drink water, right? Where the hell did I leave off at? Before I kind of get into these little tangents. Damn. So, like I said, early days for me, military service was very simple. I mean, I had no job. When we finally acquired the SSA is supply support activity. It's the warehouse. We had to set up shelving. We had to place orders, bring in new inventory, and they have like different classes of supply. Like class 1, for example, is food and water. Class 9, miscellaneous items. I mean, that's like the easiest things to remember. Class 3, as an example, is like petroleum and lubricants and stuff like that. Class 7, major end items, as an example. That's like, vehicles and, vehicle parts. So we're basically bringing all supplies for your Humvees, your LMTVs, PLS, LHS, any of the tanks that they had. So, rolling stock, things of that nature. So, there's so much detail that goes into the warehouse. There's 5 key elements. You got the issue section, receiving section, turn-in section, stock control, and turn-in. Me personally, I spent most of my time military service. I was either in issue or I was in turn-in. So, those were always my best sections to work. Unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to work stock control, and that's where, the big bucks comes from. And that's a shame. I mean, I would have loved to have kind of seen, the ins and outs. But, so once we took over the SSA, we finally had something to start with in order to kind of, how do I say this? What we learned in AIT was finally being put to good use. I should have said it that way in the first place. It sucks when you go into a new unit and you know that your life is going to be in jeopardy in a very short period. Once we got assigned to 589th, they basically told us from the get-go, once we arrived to the unit, we are going to deploy at the end of the year. So we basically had 1 year to stand up the unit, get everything set up, and then, probably 6-7 months later, I don't know, that sounds about right. Maybe somewhere between July and September of 2005, we had to start moving all the equipment, all of the rolling stock vehicles and stuff like that to the railroad yard to, you know, chain them down so that they could be loaded up and, you know, shipped overseas. By December, we're on the bus. You know, we meet at the gym in December of 2005, and we get on the bus and we're getting ready to go to, where are we going? We're going to another gym for staging, or maybe we're going straight to the airport. I don't remember, but kind of like hearing the jokes. It's okay, guys. It's just a joke. We're not actually going, because, you know, like I said, they've been preparing you all year. So now it's actually happening, and they're like, nope, it's still a joke. Where were we? Baghdad. Where are we at right now? Oh, 21 minutes. Do I want to start talking about Baghdad? I could probably knock out about 10 more minutes. There's a lot of negative things that came out of my, a lot of mental struggles, I guess, that have come from my first deployment. I mean, a lot of from both deployments, really, but I mean, I think a lot of the key stuff comes from. So we did deploy for the first time in December 2005, and it was a 12-month deployment. And you think nowadays, your average deployment for regular soldiers is like 9 months, and it may have actually gone down since. And I think Special Forces, they do anywhere between like 4 to 6 months. So in the olden days, a 12-month deployment was like nothing. 12 months was average. And now it's not until we got to our second deployment when that shit got pushed up to 15 months. But I actually like the second deployment, and once we get there, you know, I'll talk about some of the goods and bads, negatives and positives of that second deployment. But December 2005, we got assigned to BIAP, Baghdad International Airport. And while we were in Iraq, you know, I spent a lot of time kind of joking, saying that, you know, we're going to go home and the stories we're going to tell is how we're stuck in the mud all day. I think that was just easy to say because of a lot of the bad junk that went down there. You know, one event in particularly that nearly ended my life, and it took me a long time before I could really start ever bringing that up. I think I'm going to leave you guys off on this teaser and end the video here, guys. We're at 23 minutes. I'm trying to like spread these videos out as much as possible. And but man, that's going to be something to look forward to, I think. Some real shit happened to me in Iraq, and it sucked. Guys, hopefully everyone that watches these videos, or hopefully you're enjoying these. Yeah. So that will be the end of this video for now, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.